Both Lewis swim teams opened their seasons this weekend, and the women's volleyball team picked up victories against several GLIAC opponents. We'll have the latest in Lewis athletics coming up right now.
Hello and welcome to Flyer Nation, your source for the latest news in Lewis athletics. Thanks for joining us here on LUTN and online. I'm Shane Gustafson.
And I'm Natalie Budig. Joining us later on in the show is head Lewis swimming coach Roger Karns. He'll talk about the beginning of the season so far, as well as what Flyer fans can expect when team swims at home next weekend.
We'll also talk with Jamie Drez of the Lewis women's tennis team. She'll talk about finishing the first half of the season over the weekend and give us a preview of the spring season. But before we get to that, let's take a look at some other Flyer sports headlines. The Lewis women's volleyball team participated in the GLVC GLIAC crossover in Aurora over the weekend. The ladies started the series on Friday night against number 11 Grand Valley State University. The Flyers were able to take the first set from the Lakers with the help of Alexis DeVito's career-high 6 aces. Despite strong play from DeVito and freshman Allie Schneider, Grand Valley State fought back and picked up the next 3 sets to take the 3-1 victory. On Saturday, the ladies looked to pick up some victories in their doubleheader matchup. The team took on Michigan Tech in the first game and were again led by DeVito, who picked up 17 kills. Redshirt senior Kim Verton picked up 12 kills, and the Flyers picked up the 3-0 sweep. The team played Northern Michigan that night and continued their success. DeVito again led the team and had 13 kills, while junior Morgan Sabula had 12. Head women's volleyball coach Laura Lee Smith says she's proud of the team for picking up 2 victories after losing the night before. The team will be back in action this week when they host Kentucky State University on Tuesday night.
The women's soccer team had a win at home on Friday after junior Lauren Grady scored a game-winning goal with 15 minutes left. The Flyers defeated their GLVC rival Quincy 2-1. Sophomore Meg Carmody scored the first goal for the Flyers in the first half and was assisted by senior Susan Thomas and junior Jessica Chavez. Head coach Chris Koenig said the team really put it together and did a lot of great things against a quality Quincy team. On Sunday, the Flyers took on Truman State. However, neither team were able to score. The game ended 0-0 even after 2 periods of overtime. Coach Koenig said the difference between Friday and Sunday's game was that they didn't put enough on frame.
The fact that we put 2 solid games together against 2 really good teams, I'm disappointed, and I think the team is as well. You know, when you create 14 chances, we just didn't put enough on frame today, and that was the difference Friday night. Is, you know, we put a lot of shots on frame, and today, you know, we didn't. We didn't execute as well in the final third, and that's why we ended up with the 0-0 draw.
The Flyers will take on St. Joseph's at home Friday for senior night.
The Lewis men's soccer team returned home this weekend and looked to improve their GLVC record. On Friday night, the team took on conference leader Quincy University. Both teams put up a goal in the first half of action and went into halftime tied at 1. The Flyers came out in the second half and attempted 8 shots on goal, but weren't able to put anything past the Hawks goalkeeper and took the game into overtime. In the 98th minute, Quincy's Jordan Roberts scored the game-winning goal, and Quincy took the 2-1 victory to remain undefeated in the conference. On Sunday, the men took on Truman State and got off to a strong start. Junior Robert Ziba scored a goal in the first half, and the Flyers held Truman State despite their 6 shots. In the second half, Christian Nowak kicked in another goal for the Flyers to take the 2-0 victory. Head men's soccer coach Evan Feifel said the team took some of the good points from Friday night's game and used it to help them win on Sunday.
You know, I know they were in the mix there for one of the top 8 spots, and then losing on Friday was going to be, you know, going to come out a little desperate, and we're kind of desperate too, and you get the win at home right there. So I thought for 75 minutes we did a lot of stuff that we talked about. We created some opportunities, put 2 in at that point. But the last 15 minutes we got to do a better job managing the game. We got some silly fouls. We didn't take care of the ball in the final third. Gave it away way too easy. Made it way easy for them to go ahead and play defense on us. So some good things at that point right there. We take it, you know, with a clean sheet.
The team will be back in action on Friday night when they host St. Joseph's at the Lewis Stadium. First kick is set for 5 o'clock.
Over the weekend, the men's tennis team traveled to Georgia to take part in the Grizzly Men's Tennis Open. Senior Armand Lavandi and sophomore Mates Sredanovic both placed second in overall singles. Lavandi advanced to the A-Flight Singles Championship but fell 6-3 and 6-3 to Georgia Gwinnett. Sredanovic moved on to B-Flight Singles but eventually fell to USC in the championship. The Flyers have a bit of a break before they are back in action in January of 2015.
Both Lewis swim teams opened their season over the weekend in St. Charles, Missouri. On the women's side, the team swam strong and picked up 2 victories in their first weekend of action. Junior Shelby Leonard won the 200 freestyle event and finished in second place in the 200-yard medley. The ladies defeated Maryville 189-28 and picked up a win over UMSL 192-8. The team also took on Lindenwood in the meet but couldn't pick up a victory and fell 124.5 to 80.5. The men's team opened their season against Missouri S&T on Friday night and won 4 races against the Miners. However, it wasn't good enough for a victory and fell 118 to 87. The team took on UMSL the next day, and Aiden Brennan came in first place in the 200 freestyle to give the Flyers the 137.5 to 58.5 victory. However, the team couldn't pick up a win in their meet against Lindenwood and fell 147 to 58. The teams will swim next weekend when they take on Grand Valley State at the Lewis Pool.
The men's and women's cross-country teams traveled to Wisconsin over the weekend to take part in the 6K and 8K UW Oshkosh AAE Invitational, respectively. On the women's side, sophomore Amanda Farrell finished with a career-best time of 21 minutes and 36 seconds, placing 12th overall in the race. This high placing helped the Flyers finish 14th overall. On the men's side, the Flyers had 3 top 40 finishes and placed 6th overall. Sophomore Sean Millhauser finished 30th, sophomore Michael Leet finished 31st, and sophomore James Fredrickson finished 39th. Coach James Kearney said that he is very proud of his team. The men's and women's team will be back in action on Saturday in Evansville to participate in the Southern Indiana Regional Preview. Well, it's good to see that the swim teams open up their season over the weekend, and then, the soccer teams were also at home, so good to see all of the Flyer teams doing well.
It is good to see them, and especially playing at home. The women's volleyball team plays at home tomorrow, so everybody should try to get out there and watch them, and it'll be a good game, a good GLVC game.
Absolutely.
All right, well, when we come back, we'll have Lewis head swimming coach Roger Karns. Stay tuned.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
Did you know kids who play outdoors have healthier lungs?
Totally.
Did you know that boys that play with dolls make better husbands?
My son has lots of dolls.
But did you know terry cloth diapers breathe better?
I did.
It's totally true.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys know statistically friendly kids have more friends?
Yeah.
That's obvious.
Did you know most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right seat. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected.
For those dealing with the daily struggles of caring for a loved one, we hear you. That's why AARP created a community with experts and other caregivers to help us better care for ourselves and the ones we love.
Welcome back to Flyer Nation. Both Lewis swim teams opened their seasons over the weekend in Missouri. The women's team picked up 2 victories and the men picked up 1 against UMSL. Here to talk about the start of the season as well as what we can expect later in the season is Lewis head swimming coach Roger Karns. Thanks for joining us today, Coach.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. So I guess we'll go ahead and get started talking about the weekend. As I mentioned, both teams competing in Missouri. How did those meets go over the weekend?
Lindenwood and Missouri S&T are both really strong teams. Last year at Nationals, Missouri S&T, which is a men's only team, which is odd. But they finished 11th. Lindenwood's men finished 12th, so we're up against really stiff competition. Lindenwood's women finished 18th. And, we wanted to start our season against good competition because if you want to be a fast swimmer, you got to swim against fast people. So that's where we're at. We were pleased with what we saw for the most part.
So last season, the men's team went 7-4. The women went 9-2 last season. Both advanced to the GLVC and NCAA tournaments. How do you get back there this season?
By doing those same kinds of things. And like I said a moment ago, racing fast swimmers, challenging our kids both in training and in competition so that when it comes time to step up and swim fast, get the cuts you need to get in order to place where you want to place at the GLVC meet and advance on to NCAAs, that you're able and capable and ready to do it.
So the teams, you have 4 swimmers returning on both teams this year that have NCAA tournament experience. How helpful is that to you to have those swimmers around that have so much experience at that level?
Well, I think it's very helpful because it kind of sets up the expectation that Lewis swimmers are going to qualify for nationals. That's what we do at Lewis. We swim fast, we qualify for nationals, we send people there. So we're hoping for an even larger team this year than we've seen in the past.
So last season, Victor Tarrant on the men's team won the GLVC Swimmer of the Year title.
Right.
He's back again for his sophomore season. What do you expect from him this year?
Well, Victor's off to a little bit of a rough start. Victor's from Spain, and he showed up on campus with a broken wrist at the beginning of the season. Had something to do with running bulls. And so he's out of the cast now, and he's back in the water. He's kind of rehabbing. But he's a really gifted, talented swimmer. So I think by the time we see the end of the season come around and it's the point where Victor needs to swim fast to do what he wants to do, Victor's going to be fast because it's the kind of athlete he is.
So on the women's side, there's a lot of eyes on junior Montana Clasby, who made it to the NCAA tournament last year. Hopefully she didn't show up with a broken wrist this year. What's it looking like for her?
No, she did not show up with a broken wrist. Unfortunately, wasn't running bulls. But it's looking really good for Montana. She finished 9th last year, which was a huge step forward for her. And she's training very, very well. She's most of our kids are going to have some nagging injury overuse issues. Her knees bothering her a little bit. They've been swimming 10, 12 years, and joints don't like that always. But she had a pretty good opening meet, and we get great practices out of Montana, which just lifts the people around her.
So in an article that was published on lewisflyers.com, it was a preview article of the season for both teams. You mentioned that you believe there's been a lot of extensive preseason training. How important is preseason training in a sport like swimming?
Yeah, it sets up everything. You've got to have that good aerobic base. You've got to have that foundation to build off of. We enter a new training cycle this week, so what they swim at practice will be different than what they have been swimming, but that's just how the season flows. And you've got to start off with a good, solid foundation if you're going to build upon that. And I think they've done a really nice job of preparing that up through this past weekend in that cycle.
So let's talk about the team a little bit. This is pretty big teams on both sides. You have 23 women and 20 men. It's the largest in school history.
Correct.
What's it like for you as a coach to have 43 different swimmers that you're working with?
It's a challenge. Swim teams typically are co-ed like ours are, and it's not unusual for them to be fairly large. So it's kind of what it's always been for me. But we've broken into 2 training groups so that we keep about 21, 22 kids in the water during each 2-hour block so that they can get the attention from the coaches that they need. The lane's not overcrowded, they're not running into each other. And so that's been the major adjustment, and it's worked well so far.
So how's the team chemistry with 43 different people? That's 43 different personalities.
Right, and that's a concern. And then not having them all together all of the time, as we've had in the past, is also a concern. Because team chemistry has been one of our strengths, and we want to make sure that it remains one of our strengths.
So last season the team broke 20 records, and you've said that so far this season you have your eye on breaking more records.
21 would be, You always want to do just a little bit better than you did before. So,
do you have any specific records that you're looking at?
Well, we bring back on the team every record holder from last year except one, and that's Sarah Kennis, who graduated. So those people need to re-break their own records, so that gets us a lot of places. All the relay records, there's 10 relays, 5 men and 5 women. All of them are new since I got here, except for one, and that's the men's 200 free relay, and that needs to go away. We need to put a new one up there, so that we've kind of targeted that one, and I expect to see that one fall by mid-season because we've got some great sprinters this year. So.
All right, well, both teams are home next weekend. They swim against Grand Valley State. If Flyer fans come out to watch the meet, what can they expect?
They're going to see some really fast swimming. I mentioned that Missouri S&T's men were 11th, Lindenwood's men were 12th, and their women were 18th. Grand Valley State was 10th on both sides, men and women last year, so they're really solid. And we do that on purpose, as I mentioned a little bit ago. So we've got athletes that can challenge their best, and that's what we expect to have happen. It's nice to be in our home pool.
All right, well, Coach, is there anything else you'd like to add while you're here today?
No, I'm just really excited about this year, about this season, and you know, like I said, we want one more record than last year. That's always your goal, I think, and we also want to grow the size of the qualifiers for NCAAs. We've got a really great group. So.
All right, well, good luck to you, and thank you very much for coming out today.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Not a problem. We're going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll talk with Jamie Drez of the Lewis women's tennis team. Stay tuned.
Hey, this job looks perfect. It says you need people skills?
Check.
Driver's license?
Check.
And a high school diploma or GED.
Skip the drama. Get your GED.
I got that.
You are good to go.
Take that first step towards a better future and sign up for free classes now at yourged.org.
Hart, what's going on?
I'm leaving.
Why? What did I do?
Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit.
Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just please, don't leave.
Okay. But remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
Do you think he's on his way? He doesn't even know that we're here. Is he okay? Please tell me he's okay.
Laura.
Okay, try to call him again.
There's no signal.
Try.
Nothing's working.
Well, just
Everything's down.
This is so bad. He's out there by himself.
Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov.
Welcome back to Flyer Nation. The Lewis women's tennis team wrapped up the first half of their season over the weekend, competing in the Grizzly Invitational hosted by Georgia Gwinnett. The Flyers saw success in their final match of 2014, and here to talk about it now and give us a preview of the spring season is junior tennis player Jamie Drez. Thanks for joining us today, Jamie.
Thanks for having me, Shane.
Not a problem. Thanks again for coming in on after a long 14-hour bus ride back from Georgia last night.
Oh, I know. It's 4 hours of real sleep is what I got. I mean, I slept on the bus, but it's not really sleeping because it's not the most comfortable.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine so. But there was it was a good trip down to Georgia. The team saw success down at that invitational. What, how did it go from your point of view, from a player's perspective?
I think it went very well for us. We had one of our guys made it to the finals, Armand Lavandi, and he did very well, I thought. He played very well, and so did all the other girls and guys as well. We had Megan, she made it to the semis and did very well there. And I didn't make it as far as I hoped I would, but I think I still played fairly well tennis. And I also played on, I don't know if you know tennis that well, but there's hard courts and clay courts. And I had to play on clay courts, which I'm not 100% used to. So that was interesting because it's a lot different game to me because I'm used to the hard courts and clay courts. There's a lot of sliding around and whatnot. And I'm just like, okay. And the ball like bounces in all different directions. And I'm just, I mean, it was fun. And like, I need to get used to it. So I'm still, you know, work in progress with the different types of surface courts and whatnot.
So the team's played a lot this fall overall, but now won't compete again until January. So how do you stay in shape over a long winter, not playing again for 4, 5, 6 months?
Well, we will be playing. We play indoors at, there's the indoor courts at 5 Star is where we play in Plainfield. So we will be playing there, like just the girls will play with each other and the guys, and then we would do some training with coach as well. But we don't have as many hours to train with him. So we do some like lifting, and we'll do like treadmill sprints, which is, you know, just the best. Who doesn't love sprinting on a treadmill? Crazy people.
Right, call me crazy. Yeah.
So that's always fun. But yeah, we definitely work out every day, and we still play tennis every day as well. Just it'll be indoors instead of outdoors. But yeah, if you don't play for like even just a weekend, you could easily like just be lost. So that's not fun. So we definitely still keep playing and keep exercising on our own and with the coach as well sometimes.
So this is your first year on a rather small team. There's only 6 ladies on the team, and 2 of them are freshmen. What is the chemistry like with all 6 of you players on that team?
The chemistry is surprisingly fantastic because I joined the team and I only knew the one girl, Megan, because she's in the same major as me. And like after like the first practice, I became like best friends with all of them. Like we all had like nicknames for each other, and it's so much fun. And like the guys too. I mean, we are all just like one big family. Like it's so much fun. So the chemistry is great between everybody. Like there's no one left out. Like we're all just a huge family. And so like the trip this weekend was our first co-ed trip, and so it was my first trip traveling with all the guys as well. So that was just a lot of fun. Like, 14-hour bus ride. I mean, with the entire team, it was a lot of fun.
So you mentioned everybody having nicknames. Do you have a nickname that you?
I do actually. My nickname is Lava Lips.
Okay.
But you know, they call me Lava for short. I'm also the Jets. You know, from Benny and the Jets. Megan's my Benny of the Jets.
Okay.
So, you know, there's that. But yeah, the whole team, they just call me Lava or Lava Lips.
Okay.
I met the coach's kids actually this trip. They joined us and they're like, oh, Lava Lips, like, how's it going? And I'm like, I've never met you before, but you already know my nickname. Like, what in the world? But yeah, they call me Lava, so, you know, that's a fun time. And, you know, I call the coach Home Skillet Biscuit. So, you know, it's a fun time.
So if we ever hang around the tennis team, we need to learn the nicknames in order to know who you're talking about.
We have our own little lingo. We're like a weird little family. But, you know, we're very accepting of everybody. I mean, they took me in, and I'm a little crazy.
I think everybody's a little bit crazy in their own ways. So the season, as you mentioned, starts back up in January. What are you looking forward to most about competing again?
I'm looking forward to just really improving my game and really getting to know my doubles partners more, because we kind of switch around doubles partners, but right now I mainly play with the freshman Jordan Stitchin, and so I'm looking forward to building a better game with her and building my singles game as well, because in high school I mainly played doubles, so I'm not used to just being by myself. I'm used to having a little helper with me on the court, so that's a little different for me, and so I'm just looking forward to really improving my competition and whatnot. So yeah.
All right, well, Jamie, is there anything else you'd like to add while you're here today?
No, I think that's about it.
All right. Well, thanks for coming out and joining us, and hopefully you can get some sleep after that long bus ride.
Oh, I hope so. I just downed a waffle like an hour ago because I haven't eaten however long. So hopefully I'll get a nap or something in today.
Well, good luck, and hopefully you can do that.
Thank you.
No problem. We're going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on Flyer Nation.
Good one, son.
Last summer, my new dad took me on vacation. First, we went deep sea fishing. Wow!
I'm so proud of you, son.
And then we went on Thunder Shark. That was awesome! Let's go again. 3 times. I gotta say, it was pretty cool.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
Oh, not again.
Can you help me with this? My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
He helps me with homework.
That would be 3.6795.
Thanks.
Yep.
He helps me with my decision making.
I wouldn't use this one. Ever.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers.
I'm learning so much.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
Kids will spend 15 minutes watching online videos like this one.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes twice a day. They have the time.
Welcome back to Flyer Nation. The Lewis women's volleyball team won 2 of their games at the GLVC GLIAC crossover meet this weekend, improving their overall record. Let's take a look at where they sit in the standings. The Flyers were still sitting in first place despite having the same conference record as Indianapolis. However, the Flyers' 16-4 record puts them ahead of the Greyhounds. McKendree and Southern Indiana still sit behind the Flyers, and St. Joseph's and Illinois Springfield are at the bottom of the standings.
Both of our Lewis soccer teams played this weekend. The women's team won against Quincy on Friday night, while the men's team fell to the Hawks. Let's take a look at where they're currently sitting in the standings. On the men's side, the Flyers moved down to the number 6 position, while Quincy, Drury, and UMSL sit at the top of the conference. Quincy still remains undefeated with an 11-0-1 record. Over on the women's side, the Flyers remain in 12th place overall, and UW Parkside continues to lead the conference. Rockhurst, Bellarmine, and Truman State sit just behind, with Illinois Springfield and St. Joseph's rounding out the conference.
It's time for our weekly Player of the Week awards. The GLVC named junior Alexis DeVito to the all-tournament team over the weekend at the GLVC GLIAC crossover. DeVito led the team in kills throughout the weekend and collected a career-high 6 aces on Friday night against Grand Valley State.
This week's Flyer Nation Player of the Week award goes out to Shelby Leonard of the Lewis women's swim team. Leonard won the 200 freestyle over the weekend with a time of 1:55.52 and helped the team pick up victories against both Maryville and UMSL in their opening weekends. The Flyers will look for more success from her later on in the season.
Our second Flyer Nation Player of the Week award goes out to Devin Amu-Mensah of the Lewis men's soccer team. Devin scored the only goal of the night for the Flyers on Friday against Quincy and has helped the team continue success throughout his freshman year at Lewis.
We want to say congratulations to former Lewis women's basketball player Labrinthia Murdoch. Last week, she signed a professional contract with a team in Iceland and will also coach basketball there during the offseason. During her career at Lewis, Murdoch collected 1,124 points and appeared in 116 games for the Flyers. She says playing professionally has always been her dream, and she's very happy to make it happen.
Well, definitely congratulations to her. I mean, signing a contract, regardless of where it is always a great accomplishment.
Yeah, especially at the professional level, it's always a big deal.
Right, absolutely. Well, we're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back here on Flyer Nation.
Get your ass suit. You're not sitting here.
Yes, I am.
Move. Give it to him hard.
No.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Why you stabbing me with it? No.
They want to help,
Ow.
but don't know how. Teach your kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
The next 30 seconds can save you a lot of money. Just do your laundry in cold and stick to full loads. Auto-sleep your computers. Plug your gadgets in a power strip and switch it off when you're done. Headed out? Turn back your thermostat by 10 degrees. And drive sensibly. The more energy you save, the more money you save. Find other great tips at energysaver.gov.
2 outs with a runner on first base. Now the big guy comes out to bat, hitting .342 with 92 RBIs and 36 homers.
Chill raw and prepared foods promptly. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
The Lewis women's volleyball team and both soccer teams are at home this weekend, taking on GLVC opponents. Let's take a look at the upcoming game schedule. On Tuesday night, the Lewis women's volleyball team takes on Kentucky State University at the Neal Carey Arena. First serve is set for 5 o'clock p.m. and can be seen right here on LUTN Channel 6, as well as LewisFlyers.com. On Friday night, both Lewis soccer teams take on St. Joseph's at the Lewis Stadium. The men's game starts at 5 o'clock and the women's game starts at 7:30. Both games can be seen right here on LUTN Channel 6 as well as LewisFlyers.com. On Saturday, the men's volleyball team will play at home for an MIVA preview matchup at the Neal Carey Arena. Their opponent is to be determined. And on Sunday afternoon, both Lewis soccer teams will hit the road and play Indianapolis. The men's game starts at noon while the women play at 2 o'clock.
If you can't make it out to see the Flyers play in person, you can always watch the games live here on LUTN Channel 6 or online at LewisFlyers.com. This week on our radio station WLRA 88.1 FM, we'll bring you 2 Lewis Club hockey games. On Friday and Saturday night, the team plays the University of Illinois at Canlan Ice Arena. Friday's game is at 7:30, while the game on Saturday is at 5 o'clock.
Last Thursday night, the Lewis University Athletics Department hosted their 3rd annual Lewis Flyer Fan Fest at the Neil Carey Arena. Students in attendance had the chance to meet members of both the men's and women's basketball teams, as well as see performances from the Flyerette dance team and cheerleaders. Several members of both teams competed in a 3-point shooting contest, with Jamie Johnson winning for the women's team and Austin Sukup winning for the men's team. Several players also entertained students by showing off their skills and competing in the dunk competition throughout the night, and one lucky student had the chance to have his spring semester books paid for if he could make a half-court shot, and he didn't. Overall, the athletics department says the event was a pretty big success.
I heard a lot of people talking about Fan Fest and how they had a good time, and they were especially excited to see some members of the women's basketball team joining the Flyerettes on the dance floor.
I didn't know that happened, but that sounds very entertaining.
Yeah, definitely different for them to not, be playing basketball and instead dancing. So
yeah,
I wish I could have gone out to see that, but
well, there's always next year.
Yes, absolutely next year.
Maybe next year you could try to have your books paid for too.
Hey, I could try that. We'll see. I think I'd have to learn how to actually hold the basketball first before I even try and do a half-court shot. But
usually a little bit helpful, but
yeah, what can you do?
You never know. All right, well, that will do it for us this week here on Flyer Nation. Thanks for joining us.
Be sure to join us next week right here on LUTN for the latest in Flyer athletics.
From all of us here at Flyer Nation, have a great day.
They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. We beg to differ. They are snapshots that represent lasting memories, stories to be told for years to come. Our story is one pictured not just with trophies, but with diplomas, friendships, a helping hand. New chapters beginning every season. This is the story of the Great Lakes Valley Conference.